My name is Dwight Fanton. Would you join me to the pledge? Pledge allegiance. Thank you. Could we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Fanton,
Here.
Mr. Demick,
Here.
Mr. Barnes,
Present.
Mr. Curran,
Here.
Mr. Seer, Mr. Healy,
Here.
Mr. Rumfelt,
Here.
Mr. Stockin.
Here.
7 present, 1 absent.
Thank you. Could I get a motion to approve the minutes of January 5th of 2022? Moved by Mr. Rumsfeld, seconded by Mr. Curran. Are there any additions or corrections? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? They're approved. Highway.
Good afternoon. I would like to just start and inform the committee that we've had a lot of changes and circumstances that popped up in the last 24 hours. And although we always try to do our best to get everything on the agenda, we've squeezed in some stuff that might not necessarily be there today. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll do my best to get everyone up on the same page. DPW is requesting a capital project be created for local bridge 2503 in the town of Ward.
Could I get a motion for that? Moved by Mr. Healy, seconded by Mr. Demick. Any questions on that? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried.
DPW is requesting a capital project be created for local bridge 2017 in the town of Hume.
Could I get a motion? Mr. Curran, seconded by Mr. Healy. Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That is carried.
DPW is requesting a capital project be created for local bridge 0909 in the town of Birdsville.
Can I get a motion? Mr. Curran, Mr. Rumsfeld, seconds. Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That is carried.
DPW is requesting a capital project be created for local culvert 2605 in the town of Belfast.
Can I have a motion for that? Mr. Demick makes a motion, Mr. Rumfeld seconds. Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That is carried.
Finally, DPW is requesting a capital project be created for local culvert 1626 in the town of Angelica.
Can I get a motion? Second by Mr. Healy, second by Mr. Demick. Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That is carried.
DPW is requesting committee approval to repeal Resolution 3022 and also that a new resolution for the Madison Street Bridge project be created. This is needed because the wrong cost code was used in the previous request from DPW.
Motion by Mr. Rumsfeld, second by Mr. Healy. Discussion on this? Yeah, Mr. Barnes.
Since I'm from Wellsville, and that bridge is in Wellsville, what's the timetable?
Construction will begin this year. That's gone out to bid. Twin Tier Constructors was the lowest bid. We haven't received a hard date from them, but it'll be typical end of April timeframe.
So approximately how long is the project expected?
Just one construction season, so.
So it should be done late next fall?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll commit to December 31st at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on.
DPW is requesting to fill the janitor position and all subsequent positions.
Could I have a motion? I'm sorry. Okay, all right, yep, we got to have a vote, discussion on that last one, other than, all those in favor say aye?
Aye.
Opposed? That's the same, thank you.
DPW is requesting permission to fill the janitor position.
Have a motion, Mr. Rumsfeld, seconded by Mr. Demick. Discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried.
DPW is also requesting to fill a cleaner position.
And all subsequent positions?
Correct.
Could I have a motion? Mr. Healy? Mr. Rumsfeld? Discussion. These are vacancies, right? Justin?
Correct, yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The same. That is carried.
Yesterday, DPW was informed that the current building and grounds maintenance supervisor intends to retire June 3rd of this year. And due to that, I wanted to bring ultimately two requests to the committee. One request is going to be to create and fill a temporary maintenance supervisor. The intent and the reason for this is to have someone that will have ideally 2 months to work with our current maintenance supervisor and get the lay of the land. Obviously, there's a lot of facilities and purchasing and contracts involved, and DPW feels that 2 months at a minimum is needed. The second request will be to fill the current maintenance supervisor position.
We do that
Ultimately,
as one.
we fill the temporary one, that person would go into the maintenance supervisor.
Okay,
Mr.
so,
Henry, you just have one request today, though, correct? I only signed, I believe, one request to do the duplicate position that'll allow you to get a trainee in here.
Yeah, we can do one, and that one's still gotta be corrected, and I talked with Brenda on that. There's just some wording corrections.
okay, so it'll be to create, right?
So I have, yes, one request, sorry for the last minute change. One request to create and fill a temporary maintenance supervisory position.
Could I get a motion on that? Mr. Rumsfeld? Mr. Healy? Discussion?
Now, the temporary, what's the length? Again, it's gonna be 2 months, is that what, and then it goes away after 2 months? or-
I believe this will go away when the current maintenance supervisor retires. So there will be only one once the retirement actually occurs. Is that correct, Mr. Henry?
That was our intent. We have had conversations as of today, because this was last minute with Human Resources, and that is what the discussion was.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? That is carried.
Under old business, last month I informed the committee of the status of local bridge 0807 over the Genesee River on County Route 26. I wanted to take a minute to give the committee an update of changes encountered since then. In the beginning of January, county forces noticed movement in the western abutment of the bridge. Working with New York State DOT, it was determined that the best course of action was to post a 12-ton weight limit, perform soil borings on site, and install new monitoring points to be able to determine any farther movements. This morning, as county forces were on site installing the monitoring points, farther deterioration of the west abutment was observed. The county has determined that for the safety of the traveling public, this bridge must be closed, and it has been at this point in time. Furthermore, since last committee, I have had discussions with New York State DOT and have gotten verbal commitments of roughly $1.8 million towards this project. At this point in time, we still are determining exactly what needs to be done and what the estimated cost will be. But we will continue to work with New York State DOT on that and seek whatever funding we can.
Yep. Mike, did you have something?
Yeah, could you clarify that 1.8 million you're talking about, that's possible outside funding?
Yeah, it's the typical funding that the county would receive for what we would call an LSDA project, our federal state funded ones. It's the same pot. That's what was currently available at this time.
No idea at all. No idea at all what the total cost of the project.
Not until we have final determination of what is causing all the issues.
The, what's the detour, length of the detour up there?
There's not been any posted detour. This happened all this morning. We haven't had time to post.
Okay. I know we were at the, last week, several of us were at the County Fire Advisory Board meeting, and for the month, and there seemed to be quite a bit of concern about the distance that everybody would have to travel to go around, both for emergency services and for people who have businesses in the area that operate on both sides of the river there. I assume you're going to try to address that as best you can.
Correct. The department has addressed those concerns as they came into us. Initially, and I believe at the time of that meeting, the concern was with the proposed 12-ton weight limit. As I mentioned, that's no longer happening because there's no weight now, but
No, it's just
we
closed,
have
right?
informed and worked with all emergency services. Jeff Lucky has also been in communication with all those involved, and we're making do with this scenario.
I believe there is a plan in place for both fire and EMS. 911 has also updated their records to show that the bridge is out
Okay.
for dispatch.
Fire, EMS, the school districts, local BOCES have all done a plan.
We're going to hear more about that today in public safety, or is that not part of the topic, or?
I don't know if anybody was planning on speaking on that in public safety or not.
Okay, but it's being addressed, and,
I know 911 has already addressed it for a proposed closure because this bridge was planned to be closed for at least a weekend. They already had the maps redrawn for that. And I know Mr. Lucky passed on this morning after this bridge was closed that fire and EMS had already made plans and are ready for this.
Okay.
And once again, this most recent bridge closure popped up today, so Public Safety Committee has not had a lot of time to digest what happened, but I will be here during that committee to answer any questions.
I understand there's an email out on it, and will be brought up to date as things progress, correct?
Yeah, as far as their information comes in, I will be giving updates.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Barnes?
Yes, how old was the bridge?
1980,
No, that was 74 on that one, I believe.
it was after the big flood.
74.
72, it was the flood.
It was years after, but yes, that's right. County Route 4 bridge was 1980. This one was 1974, yes. Yep.
And has it been a problem previously, before this year, or?
It's been on the county radar for over a year. Last committee, I brought this same bridge up in regards to the Bridge New York funding for 2021. So we would have submitted that 9 months before we got the letter of determination not receiving that funding. And I want to say it was either November or December of 2020 when we first realized we were having some issues, and we brought another engineering firm on, and it was determined at that time that we would perform the evaluations needed to get the information for the New York State Bridge Funding submittal. So it's been on the radar. The issues with the abutment were not known or realized until last month.
I think it's fair to say that has been a rapidly changing condition, that maybe even those conditions didn't exist a few months prior.
They were, no one realized it was positioned, or the current circumstances to include the engineering firm, our forces, or New York State DOT, which performs yearly inspections on the site. So I think it's safe to say they're rather new.
And the problem with detours, how many bridges are there across the Genesee north of the expressway? We were talking this morning, and you
Correct.
said there's just not many.
Yeah, north of 86, I believe, I'm working off of memory, but I believe there's 5 bridge crossings. 4 of them are county and 1's town. The town bridge crossing is open, and 3 of the 4, well, now 2 of the 4 county bridge crossings are opened. Previously, the historic bridge was closed back in the early, 2012, and now this one.
Is this project going to push back other projects that were on the docket? That's for,
Until we get all the information of what is truly needed, one of the key things we need to do from that is evaluate what can be done by internal forces, which means quicker than with state federal money, and what we need to utilize state federal money for, which takes more
Thank you.
time.
Anyone else? Phil?
Just to make it clear, this is a critical bridge. Belfast Central School, unless somebody has another idea that I don't envision, to get across the river to people right there, have to go all the way down to the expressway and over to Angelica and back up. That's to get the Southway, and if they go north and want to get over, they got to go north of Canneadea, get across the bridge, and then wind all around back up in the hills to get back down to that bridge. And that bridge is used by town of Belfast plows and the town of Canneadea plows to get to the backside of the river, because those other bridges are out. It's just used constantly by very important things. So we've somehow got to get this done as fast as possible.
And the county has worked with the towns involved and has a plan for the continue of the plowing.
Anyone else? That's not good news. Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. Jim?
Is there a possibility for an on-site detour eventually down the road, or no?
Like a temporary bridge.
Yeah, like a temporary
It
on-site.
being the Genesee River, we can run the numbers, but I would say it'd
Cost
be
effective.
cost.
Yeah.
In the past, and a lot, when we try to do the temp, we use old bridge panels or the Tappan Zee panels, and we're able to place those in and get something, but we don't have anything that can do this span.
Anyone else?
you could hire a ferry boat to move them back and forth across the river.
It's true.
Okay, not good news. New business?
Yes, I had 2 things under new business today. Before this meeting started, I did hand out a MOE. Yesterday, DPW was informed by Hunt Engineering that a geotechnical engineering study is needed before engineered drawings for the Friendship Shop project can be released for bidding. With that, Public Works is requesting approval to enter into an agreement with Intertech PSI for geotechnical engineering exploration at the proposed new DPW facility in Friendship. Attached to the MOE, there is the quotes that were retained from 4 qualified firms and the results. Intertech PSI is the second lowest bidder, not the lowest bidder, but can be on site and deliver their report that is needed to continue with this project in half the time of the lowest bidder. The difference in cost between the second bidder, and the second lowest bidder and the lowest bidder is roughly $800, and his county's determination is worth the additional $800 to move the project along in a timely manner. Funding will come from existing capital fund, which has adequate funding at this time. DPW will continue to work with the Treasury Office, and if additional funding is required, DPW will bring any additional requests for funds to the committee at that time.
Can I get a motion on that? Mr. Healy makes a motion. Mr. Demick seconds. Discussion? Yes.
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman.
Healy.
Yes. Mr. Henry, I have asked before if you've been in contact with the town of Friendship on this project, and there are different departments in the town government that would be concerned in this matter, and you replied that you have, is that correct?
Me personally, no, but yes, agents representing us or county, other employees for the county have.
So they are aware of it, and they're in the loop. How about the New York State DOT, since they have shops right there too? Have you-
I haven't had any official conversation with them. I have monthly meetings with representatives at the local registry you're speaking of in Friendship. Off the top of my head, I cannot tell you what.
My only concerns would be, I hate to think, because that the state of New York all of a sudden would pop up and decide they're going to build a new state facility someplace in the neighborhood, and maybe there might be some sort of a combined or a utilization of facilities or other facilities in the area that might be better suited. That'd be my only concern there, I guess, with the state.
Right, and I definitely understand what you're looking at. The DOT has made, I know, some considerable capital investments there, especially to deal with roofing. With that said, I don't believe they're planning on going anywhere, and I don't think there's anyone at my level I could talk about that would know different anyways. But, and in regards to shared facilities, 3 years ago, when there was a lot of conversations about shared service, I did have an unofficial conversation to see what was available at the time in regards to that, and nothing was available. And I don't see why that would have changed.
All right, thank you.
DOT just put a new facility 3 years ago over at the Wellsville area for that facility. That's the newest one that I know of.
It's centrally located. I cannot see why it'd be in their best interest, and they haven't rearranged the residencies in Region 6 since they combined all of Steuben County, and I doubt they're gonna do that again.
All right, did we get a vote on that? All right, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? That is carried.
One last item that popped up today that I wanted to update the committee and make sure it gets out to the public. We were informed today that the new solid waste resident tags, which typically come in by now, won't be delivered to our office until the 14th of March. So with that said, we are updating the county website, and we are trying to inform the public that we will not be able to do on-site applications until the week of the 14th of March. That online purchases can still be made, but they will not be mailed out until the 14th of March. And current resident solid waste tags are good to the end of March.
Any questions on that? Looks like everybody's behind this year, so. It's
I
just
didn't want to say due to COVID. 'cause
Supply
I was
chain.
getting old.
Supply chain problems.
Yeah.
Okay, go to the order. Mr. Healy.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as long as we were talking so much about bridges today, I had an opportunity to go up and take a close look at the Weidrich Road Bridge that's been completed for a couple months now anyways, and open. And I was impressed with the bridge. Everything looked good to my amateur eye there, and the project turned out very well.
Looks good. Looks
We
good.
had a really good on-site construction inspector, and the local contractor was great as well. That was LC Whitford. They did a great job.
Yeah, kudos to Whitford. They did a great job on that bridge, so. Anything else? Mr. Barnes?
On the same subject, I have a question. I was there the other day. Why are there 3 stop signs with that intersection now?
Yeah, so it's a T intersection, and it used to only have 2. The route heading from the bridge to the T intersection used to not have a stop sign. An engineered study was done at that area, and it was determined that for the travel and public safety, it would be best to have that stop sign there.
I think it should be a yield sign myself, but to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Or having 3 stops there, everybody looks at each other, and finally somebody moves. That happened to me the other day.
It is something that it is a town road, and the town, if they wish, could address it with DOT. It's definitely an option, but personally, I'd rather have people looking at each other than not. So,
So be it.
all right.
Anything else? We'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Mr. Chairman, with there appearing to be no other business come before the Public Works Committee, I'd make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Runfeld. Is there a second for that? Mr. Curran seconds that. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.